Fabian Hurzeler was appointed head coach of Brighton in 2024 following the departure of Roberto De Zerbi. Upon his appointment, Hurzeler would become the youngest ever permanent Premier League head coach. Despite his young age, he has a clear footballing philosophy, which includes fluid build-up play and a 4-2-4 shape. As of the time of recording, he has a 50% win ratio at Brighton and a 47% win ratio for his career. Welcome back into the channel if you haven't worked it out already. Today's video is a tactic testing video, and the video is going to be centred around Fabian Hurzeler and his 4-2-4 tactical style that he has brought to Brighton. Today's tactic is a tactic that has been downloaded from a community member, that is Ashtonggmu. You want to check out their channel and the original video that I got this tactic from. There'll be a link to those things in the description down below. There will also be a link to the tactic if you want to download it and have a go with it yourself. In today's video, I'm going to put this tactic in the hands of Liverpool, Brighton and Ipswich to see how it gets on with three different teams in the Premier League. Before I get into the tactic test though and show you the results and break the tactic down, I really could do with your help. I'm currently on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and I could do with your help. If you could just hit that subscribe button for me, I would appreciate it as I move ever closer to that figure. The aim here is to get to 10,000 before the release of FM25 in March. I really would appreciate it if you can help me out. Right then, it's time to jump into the tactic test. We're going to go through the results of Liverpool, Brighton and Ipswich, and then at the very end of the video I will break the tactic down to show you how it works. To start the results roundup off, we are just going to look at the Premier League. As all three teams play in the Premier League, I'm going to go through the results of the table first, and then we will go club by club, starting with Liverpool, finishing with Ipswich. Breaking down the Premier League table then, we find Liverpool are the champions. They would win the league and they would finish on 29 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses, a 58 goal difference, and they would finish on 92 points to win the league by 5 points from both Manchester City and Tottenham. The next team on the list would actually be Ipswich. They would finish in 9th place. They would qualify for the Europa Conference League. They would win 14, draw 10, lose 14, have a 2 goal difference, and they would finish on 52 points. The third team that we tested was Brighton. They would actually be quite disappointing in the tactic. 14th position they would finish, 10 wins, 11 draws, 17 losses, a -9 goal difference and 41 points. In terms of goals scored, Darwin Núñez would be the leader from all three teams with 19. You would have McAllister and Leif Davis both getting 10 assists. Alisson would finish on 15 clean sheets. Let's have a look then at Liverpool's other competitions. So in the Champions League, they would be knocked out by Real Madrid in the quarter-finals. In the FA Cup, they would go on to win the tournament and they would beat Tottenham in the final there. They would finish runner-up in the Carabao Cup, where they would lose to Ipswich. A little bit of a spoiler as to what's about to happen. And they would win in the Community Shield at the start of the season. Looking at the data hub then to just get some more numbers, they would have 2.34 goals per game, concede 0.82 goals per game, have 14.8 shots per game, and they would have a pass completion ratio of 87.19. Looking at the squad then to find out who would be the leading goal scorer, that would go to Darwin Núñez with 32 goals, Mo Salah with 27, and Gakpo with 20. Leading the way for assists would be Dominic Szoboszlai. Then you have Alexis McAllister and Mo Salah contributing there too. Moving on to Brighton and their other competitions. So in the Emirates FA Cup, they would be knocked out in the 5th round by Manchester City. And in the Carabao Cup, they would be knocked out in the 2nd round by Birmingham City. Let's go and have a look at the data hub to get their other numbers. So they would score 1.42 goals per game, concede 1.66 goals per game, which is a little bit alarming. Only have 10 shots per game, and they would have a pass completion ratio of 86.95%. If we look at their squad then, most goals scored would be by Evan Ferguson. He would get 13 on the season, with Wafer and March getting 8. Also, in terms of assists, it would be Mitoma and March leading the way on 9 and Joe Pedro on 7. Finally, we move on to Ipswich Town. Not only would they finish 9th in the Premier League, qualifying for the Europa Conference League, but they would perform well in the FA Cup, getting to the quarter-finals and being knocked out by Manchester City. And as we already know, they would get to the Carabao Cup final and beat Liverpool 3-1 to win the League Cup. Looking at the data hub for some of the other numbers then, they would have goals per game of 1.95, conceded per game 1.89, shots per game 9.82, and pass completion ratio of 86.09. Looking at the squad to find out top goal scorer and assister, George Hurst would get 24 goals from 37 appearances. Jack Clark and Liam Delap would both get 17 goals. In terms of the assists, Leif Davis would finish top assister with 13 and Sam Morsey would get 12 assists. Right then, those are the results all in. Let's have a look at this tactic and break it down. So as you can see, it's the Hurzeler Brighton Hove Albion 4-2-4. As I said, this tactic is created by Ashtonggmu, so give them a follow if you like this tactic. Let's break it down then. Starting off at the back, we're going to have a sweeper keeper who is set to attack. On the left, you'll have a fullback set to attack. 2 ball-playing defenders, both of which are set to defend. And on the right, an inverted wing-back set to defend. You then have a deep-line playmaker set to defend. A segundo volante set to attack. On the left, an inverted winger set to attack. An attacking midfielder set to support. An inside forward set to support. And a complete forward set to support. This tactical style is custom to the tactic creator. Its mentality is attacking. The in possession will look like this. The in transition will look like this. The out of possession will look like this. So all in all, this tactic has done really well in the hands of Liverpool and Ipswich. Liverpool winning the Premier League and the FA Cup. You had Ipswich finishing 9th, qualifying for the Europa Conference League and winning the League Cup. Strangely disappointing with Brighton, but I suppose it isn't a tactic that needs to be locked to one team. It just shows you that it can perform well in the hands of the big boys and also the minnows of the league. So if you've enjoyed the tactic, don't forget there will be a link to this tactic in the description down below. Also, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please consider doing so. I am on the road to 10k and I could do with every piece of help that I could get. For this one though, I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you on the next tactic testing video.